Kingdom OutKast Podcast is a platform for us to simply express our thoughts, opinions, and experiences concerning our faith and events around the world. We're here for your entertainment, encouragement, and edification of the body. We're humans like yourself and are not the final authority of views expressed. Only the Most High Yah is. Feel free to agree, disagree, edify, question, and comment however you're led to in the comments. We are many members of one body under Messiah and look forward to communing as a family with mutual respect. Shalom and enjoy the pod. Kingdom OutKast.
Oh, Elijah's like that angle on him.
Redo.
Why is it so downhill? Save
He
it.
he likes it.
Save
I think it make the angle makes his beard look bigger.
Oh, that's what he's going for?
Yeah, it makes the
this
jaw.
This is the angle. This is the angle.
Makes the hidden jawline stand out more.
The beard angle is crazy.
Skibidi pop pop. What is up, beautiful people all around Elohim's green earth? It is Kingdom OutKast. We are here, episode 21. Woo! It is your boy, your co-host, Elijah Eliyahu. We are back here in the building on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes,
Who am I here with?
I am Deja Simon.
I'm Brandon Bashak.
Noah Hodden. All right.
I'm feeling short and cut today.
I feel it. Let's get to the point. How has my family been? How y'all been?
I've been good, but I had the strangest dream last night, which consisted of a hybrid child. I'll tell you about it really quick.
Okay, what's up?
So I had a dream that I was at a track meet, and one of the girls on our team was a mutant child who was born at like 2 or 3 months old. So she was like extremely small, but they let her participate in the activities because she was like a disabled child. So she went to do her event, but when she got nervous at the start, so she transformed into a bird, flew off the track, flew to me, landed on me, and I was like, it's okay, you're safe. And I was like, let's just find your mom. So I had to like grab her so she wouldn't fly off. And then some type of worm or something that was on her crawled into my skin.
Yikes.
So then I was like, okay, not only do I have to get this hybrid bird girl back to her mom, I also have to get this insect out of my skin.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was very strange.
That is pretty strange. I don't know how to interpret dreams. But yeah.
4th Ezra 5:8. And menstruous woman shall bring forth monsters. Are you gonna birth one of these monsters?
It wasn't my child. I'm not a menstruous woman.
I'm joking.
That's interesting. My dreams lately have not been like that. Nothing weird. Just more so like doom and gloom. A lot of terror in the streets.
That's terror. A hybrid child living amongst us is terrifying.
I don't have hybrids. It's all humans. Okay. But it's a lot of guns.
Yeah.
A lot of guns, a lot of anarchy in the streets. Is what my dreams have been consistent of. But it's interesting. Did you wake up in a sweat or?
I just woke up like going like this to my arm.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
get out of me.
Yeah, but I felt like I felt bad for like the little bird girl because I wanted her to get back to her mom.
Oh yeah.
Sad that she was like nervous.
I
also dream about birds a lot because, I had a number of birds that I no longer have.
Oh, what happened?
Are you just now noticing that the bird is gone?
Yeah, actually. What?
Teal took a water nap.
Yeah, she flew into the toilet when we were at your third spot and drowned. I just came home to the bird in the toilet, and it was really terrifying, and it really, really sad, honestly, really sad.
And I was joking about her bird earlier that day.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Right. It was sad. Elijah even called me and wished me condolences or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you actually tell us?
I told Elijah.
Oh. Dang, no, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I just realized, like, no chirps. Okay.
Yeah, she's been gone for about 2 months.
How long did you have her for?
Maybe like 6 months.
Yeah, that's enough to get attached.
Yeah, well, she's elsewhere. How you been, Brandon?
I've been good. I've had dreams and have apparently popped up in other people's dreams. I have like 2 more to add to my 7, so it's like 9 now. Yeah. One friend, they text me every time they have a apocalyptic dream. I'm in it. Like,
are you like the leader?
Of course, know, man.
As soon as you say the L word, Brandon gets like shook.
Anyways.
The L word.
Honestly, yesterday's like excellent sermon. That was like for me, to be honest. Like, I'm talking about excellence and leadership. But anyways, that's another conversation. But yeah, with this particular one, it was about flooding, and she said later that day, one of her cousins set their house on fire.
Wow.
Like, and so she feels like there was like message in that for what happened, and then then another friend, she just said she felt stuck in her dream, like she was trying to come back to this realm or something, and somehow was in it. I don't know, man. It's just weird, man. People who if people who have tuned into my Instagram when I would like post like mad stuff all the time, like I guess people that I've gotten cool with or acquainted with, whether stranger or people I know in real life, we talking about being a dream. The dream I had was giant attacks. So like one was in the city, big giant was destruction. One was on a cruise, giant come out the ocean, terrorizing the cruise ships, and another one was like out in the urban areas.
In the
like,
city?
No, like
rural.
Rural. Yeah. Like outskirts of the city, and it was kind of like it would happen in the day. There was devastation, people died, and then it would happen at the least, like right in the downtime when people were recovering. Like it was just happening. So I had like 3 giant dreams in the same night. So yeah, man, it's been weird dreaming. I don't know, man. I don't know what his message is, whether my own brain is doing its thing, or whether what I watch is influencing. It's stuff you got to seek the Most High on.
Yeah.
But other than that, life been cool. Life been straight. Another regular week of work. Nothing too out of ordinary.
Feel that.
I have a trivia question for you guys.
Well,
I didn't pre-warn you because I want to know what you actually think. Who are the current presidential candidates, Democratic and Republican? Go.
No clue. Is Biden in there somewhere?
Biden.
Okay.
Who else?
Is Trump in there?
Something Witherspoon, maybe?
Or people just hope Trump pops up?
No, Trump's on there for sure. He's on each state's ballot.
Okay,
Nikki Haley.
Biden, Trump, Nikki Haley.
There's some Democratic ones straggling. Witherspoon, maybe, I don't know. I don't really keep this information in my head, but I've
right.
I'm recalling some CNN clip of showing them at like 10%.
That's fine. I just was curious if this
it's gonna be Trump Biden until it ain't. It's like.
So they're truly the only option.
Now they're starting to talk about Biden's mental capacity, which we've been known, but. He's
literally like just like.
You know what? I had a thought of, what if they just put new batteries in him, and he became like a spry young chicken again? That would be crazy.
What's that?
The ruler of like North Korea and how he popped out and he was like a whole new person.
Oh yeah.
What's that cartoon where it was an episode? It was like a really old worm. Was it SpongeBob? Was it another one? But there was an episode where it was a really old worm.
Yeah, he used to walk with a cane.
That when I see Biden, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Every time I see Biden, I think of that really old worm. Yo.
I can't imagine how other countries view him too. They're like, bruh,
fool.
Yeah,
a joke,
a feeble leader,
weak man.
Weak man.
Yeah, so much respect for Biden. Yeah, I think it's Nikki Haley. I think Vivek. I think it's really. Vivek's out. Mm-hmm. You see, so I don't even know. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say again. I can't believe that 2 Indians are running for president of the United States of America. Imagine if an Indian person made it to actual candidacy, being a real option in China. That would never happen. You cannot rule China without being Chinese. You have to be like blood, ethnicity, cleansed Chinese. Like, you cannot just pop up from another country and rule China.
Well, United States is supposed to be, land for everybody, I guess. My thing that'd be weird to me, almost about people who come from other countries or maybe come from family. Maybe they were born in this country. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'd want to go and like pour into my homeland, and not this other land that. But I guess a lot of people really take on American culture, and they do away with their ancestry.
They are second generation. You have to be second generation in order to run.
Yeah,
but they take on the identity of being American.
Yeah.
I think you need to be like 4 generations in to be like, my identity is American. Like, I consider myself to be American. I'm a Black American because my lineage is many generations of America. But I don't think that if you're actually Chinese American and you're first or second generation, you could just take that on as your identity.
Yeah.
What, American?
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
That's what people do though. But I mean, people do. I mean, we talk about it last podcast. About people coming and not realizing they're trading whatever security they think they're going to get here for a loss of their morals and culture in the next second generation here. So I don't know. It just be weird to me when I see like people like from other cultures and they know their background and they want to do so much for, I guess, this place and not their homeland. But that's me. Like, I don't know. Y'all know I'll be working with the stuff in Uganda, so I just kind of like, I don't know, I think a little differently, but that's not to judge. It's just interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, I don't know, when you said Indian, I'm like, Indian. Because, like, when you look at Nikki Haley, she's a white woman, but she is Indian. Right. Like...
She whitewashed herself and changed her last name.
Yeah, so I'm just like, to an extent, of course, I'm not going to take away your claim to Indian, but like visually, what you see.
She chooses when to use it. Like her talking point is, I was the only woman of color in my elementary school, and I had to suffer as a woman of color.
Where's your color?
Oh my god!
Respectfully, but no. So.
Okay, look. Are we ready to get into
the precept? Yeah, repeat that.
So, I want to, for our precept today, I want to read from 1 Corinthians 3:6 through 15. I came across it this week in my weekly devotional.
You said 6 through 15?
Correct.
Okay, we're going at
3:6 through 15.
All right, you said
1 Corinthians.
Gotcha. 3? Chapter 3?
Chapter 3.
All right.
And I'm going to read from the CJB version. So, I planted the seed, and Apollos watered it, but God was the one who grew it. So neither the planter nor the water is anything, only God who makes things grow. Planter and waterer are the same. However, each will be rewarded according to his work. For we are God's co-workers. We are God's field, God's building. Using the grace God gave me, I laid a foundation, like a skilled master builder, and another man is building on it. But let each one be careful how he builds. For no one can lay any foundation other than one already laid, which is Yahshua the Messiah. Some will use gold, silver, or precious stones in building on this foundation, while others will use wood, grass, or straw. But each one's work will be shown for what it is. The day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test the quality of each one's work. If the work someone has built on the foundation survives, he will receive a reward. If it is burned up, he will have to bear the loss, and he will still escape with his life. But it will be like escaping through a fire. Don't you know that you are God's temple? Don't you know that you people are God's temple and that God's Spirit lives in you? So if anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him. For God's temple is holy, and you yourselves are the temple.
Whew, that's a loaded one. I was almost lost from one because of your version. What version are you reading?
The CJB.
CJB, yeah. But yeah, I was lost from one, but I caught on. Y'all can go first. Y'all know me. I'll be last.
I mean, I think it's first we got to realize that the foundation must be in Yahshua. He talks about it, how in Matthew 7 it is. So everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and slammed against that house. because they have been founded on the rock. And I think, like, as I think about that, that's like our foundation. We have to build our foundation on Christ. And then we have to be able to work with other believers who have already built their foundation on Christ and have received the Holy Spirit in working to help others seek after salvation and work it out on their own. I think that it's just like, I mean, we're going to talk about this in our topic of the week. The foundation of a ministry must be on the Messiah. Literally, the prophets pointed to it, and then the New Testament talks about how we're supposed to operate as followers of Christ. So that's just where our foundation has to be. You know, as we're all gifted in different areas, whether it's leadership, you know, or like prophecy or evangelism, or, you know, we all have different gifts, but our foundation must be in Christ. And as we're working together, being led by the Holy Spirit, you know, we have to remember that, yes, we have these gifts, and we should be like working to cultivate them to be as good as possible, but the foundation must remain the same, as we're, you know, seeking to glorify the Most High. So that's my little take on it.
So to bounce off, I got to bounce off what he said. To bounce off what Elijah said, you know, that goes back to our discussion last week about denominations. It's like, what foundations are all these denominations built off of that you literally have to segregate yourself by different labels?
Yeah.
It can't be built on a Messiah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If y'all literally segregate off of different labels, it just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, it was made clear to me, even non-denomination is a denomination, which has different beliefs and ways of viewing inside that denomination.
Yeah.
It literally just needs to be believers full of people with different interpretations, you know? One thing that stuck out to me is doesn't the Ruach dwell within you, you know, and how he'll destroy the temple, one who destroys his body. And it just makes me think of, like, you know, like how we do defile the temple, whether it be given into lust, prematurely, whether it is whether you're smoking weed, tobacco, whether you're drinking too much alcohol, whether you do drugs. I mean, you know, we know people who die from drugs all the time, and that's what I think of, you know, Most High destroying people's temple. But, you know, at the same time, some of these people don't have the Ruach in them.
Also, unhealthy.
But, you know, us who do, we do have a higher responsibility. So it does kind of like throw that back in my face, like, okay, Brandon, whoa, you know, don't, you know, yeah, take care of the temple. And and that doesn't just mean in health and fitness.
Right.
You know, yeah, the bigger point I got from that was about building the foundation on the Messiah. And I also look at where it's talking about building a strong house on it. That's your works. You know what I mean? Do you have works to show, you know? And if you don't have works, it's probably because your foundation is faulty, you know? So that's how I looked at that.
That's good.
I really like the way that is written, because our idea for precept is like, what is a message within a message? Like, how in the word is the writer using comparison to make spiritual matters clear to human people? And so when I hear this, I think about the fact that you can't build on top of nothing. You have to start with the foundation. So that's basic. If you get out and you're wanting to teach the gospel, you have to start with the Messiah and belief in him. You lose a lot of people right there. But for whoever you don't lose, and whoever's in the walk with you, now you build on top of their foundation, and they build on top of your foundation. But the credit is not to the builder.
Right.
And the credit is not to the one who's watering. The credit is still it all circles back to Yahshua. It all circles back to the Most High. So I think that's important to note. And anytime you see the dynamic where one is supposed to be a builder or a waterer or is a leader of a ministry, but it continues to circle back to them and their self and the things that they're doing and how great they are. That the word right there reveals to you that that's a form of false prophecy. So always giving proper credit where it's due. That's what I think about the importance of building. And you don't want to be stagnant in your faith. The idea of building on the foundation is a continual building. It's not like I just built. Like there was a foundation and I built. Building means I'm working on it all the time. And I think as believers, we're never a finished product, perfect temple. We're always working to continue to build on top of our foundation.
That's real. I like your take from it. So we got the Hebrew word, foundation.
Okay.
I was gonna attempt to look it up, but I don't know how to really operate as effectively as Brandon does.
All right.
Finding foundation in Bible Hub.
Oh, good.
We'll be locked in on your financial news.
There you go. All right. Foundation here. Looking it up, letting the search queue up. Your internet is slow in here, miss.
Oh, now the internet's slow.
Yeah, for real.
Pay bills.
No, it's loading. It's loading.
I thought these things were coming straight off the noggin.
Oh, yeah? Nah, I wouldn't fool the people like that. Which is your Wi-Fi?
I found it in Greek.
Haven't I connected?
No.
Hebrew
and
Greek is probably important to find it in, though.
Do you have the Wi-Fi?
You
need assistance with the Wi-Fi?
You need mine?
Okay.
I'm on my
foundation.
That's Greek. That's Greek. That's Greek.
I'm gonna do Hebrew first.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Foundation. Hebrew. Yesod. Yesod. Foundation. Base. Definition: foundation, base. NASB translation: base, foundation, foundations, thigh, and strong exhaustive concordance: bottom, foundation, repairing, and it comes from yakad, which yasad, which yasad is to establish, found, fix, appointed, established, firmly placed. Found, foundation, foundation will be laid, foundations will lay, foundations which laid, founded, given orders, laid its foundation, rebuilding, set, take counsel, took counsel, laying. Now, if we go to the Greek, it is, of course it would sound more complicated, themelios. Belonging to the foundation, a foundation stone, something put down, a substruction of a building. And that is 23:10 for Themelios, and for Yesod 32:47, and then for Yasad that is 32:45. I like the Hebrew more.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Not just because of my bias, but because it is a lot deeper in the definitions and understanding. I liked counsel. I like that one for foundation. I thought that was interesting because we see Paul talking about, how our foundation must be in Yahshua, and as you think about that word for foundation and then you hear counsel, it's like when you want to, like, later on in Paul's writings, he talks about, I think it's him, maybe it's John, I don't know, but he talks about testing spirits. You know what I mean? And I think, like, as I think about the word counsel, like, it's important as, as we're believers, and we're going to talk about this in the prosperity gospel topic, but, like, it's important to test the spirits and also be going back to the word and seeing what the word has to say on something, reading the word precept upon precept, line upon line, and taking it in its full context. Like, the Most High's word is living and breathing, and it's it's important that we look at it from what it says in all of what the Most High's word says, if that makes sense. It makes sense in my mind as I'm speaking, but like, it's important that we take counsel as we are hearing people talk about Christ, because nowadays, even the Messiah said, he said, there's going to be many false Christs that come about. There's going to be all these messages about a Messiah, like, this is Jesus, this is Jesus. What did the scripture say about Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we had some interesting current events in the last couple of weeks. Brandon brought to our attention an article about artifacts being returned to Africa. And we hear about this now and again. Of course, we know kind of the history is that a lot of the things that the royal family owns or museums across the world in the U.S. make millions and billions and thousands of dollars and have ownership over items that were stolen via war or whatever reason they say they acquired it. They acquired a space, which means that they were able to take all the valuables from that space, and now they sit in these museums and places, and they never return to their original owners. So when we hear of an instance where something is being returned to Africa, that kind of grabs my attention.
Yeah, I have here pbs.org. U.S. Museum returns artifacts to Ghana that were looted 150 years ago by British forces. Accra, Ghana, 7 royal artifacts looted 150 years ago by British colonial forces from Ghana's ancient Asante Kingdom and kept by the United States Museum have been returned and presented to the Kingdom on Thursday, the latest of a series of stolen treasures items being repatriated to several African countries.
Pause, you're out of the frame.
So, looted from British colonized Ghana in the 19th century before being transferred from Fowler Museum at the University of California, Los Angeles in 1960s. The artifacts included an elephant tail whisk, an ornament chair made of wood, leather, and iron, and two gold stool ornaments, a necklace, and 2 bracelets. We're here because the white man came into Asante Man to loot and destroy it. Tumfuo Osei Tutu, the king of Asante Kingdom in Ghana's largest city, Kusami, said at presentation ceremony that brought joy and relief to the kingdom. Apologies to any Ghanaians for butchering the name. After decades of resistance from European and Western governments and museums, the efforts of African countries to reparate stolen artifacts are paying off with increased return of treasured pieces. Activists, though, say thousands more are still out of reach.
Mm-hmm.
And,
There must be some incentive for them to want to return a stolen item, because they've been stealing from Africa for generations. Why?
I'm like, where's the interest?
Give the things back now.
I'm like, where's the interest?
We need all those
to be
admission
gaining
tickets
something.
Prices. Like, y'all need to send us some.
And send some gold and silver with it. Like, we adding time on how long y'all had it. Like,
Yeah.
interest
on stolen items.
It's insane.
It wasn't a loan. It wasn't like you just stole it.
Yeah, you just stole it.
Literally.
And you profited off it.
So let me read this here. Quote, we are globally shifting away from the idea of museums as unquestionable repositories of art, as collecting institutions entitled to own and interpret art based primarily on scholarly expertise, to the idea of museums as custodians with ethical responsibility, unquote, said Sylvia Forney, director of Fowler Museum. Look, man, I remember going to a museum out there in Texas, and they had this Jewish section, and boy, they had all these Israelite artifacts. I was just in there. I can't wait for the day so I can have this on my list and come here and pillage.
Was that in Houston or?
It was in Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, man, and boy, they had stuff, and I was talking loud in there. Yeah, it ain't Jewish, it's Israelite.
Yeah,
this ain't them people over there. Like, I was letting them. And they all being side eye.
They were watching you from the security.
Like, I had my fringes on and everything this day. Like,
I'm glad you made it out of there alive.
Man, please. What's these folk gonna do?
What are they gonna do? It's like when Michael B. Jordan was in Black Panther.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. That's literally what I was picturing.
No, like what it is that first chapter in First Maccabees when it talks about how Antiochus went to Egypt, went all throughout Africa, and that's literally what we're reading. What we're reading is from that verse.
Yeah.
Like, that is that, you know? Or I pair like this. I don't know if I told you this, but I was in contact with this Jewish woman a couple months ago. Yeah, and she was just like, oh, you know, how can you walk around with the menorah? Aren't you scared? I'm like, I'm real people. Like,
right.
Like, what fear? The most high on me.
We could still be victims of anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Anti-Semitic literally is like North Africa, so, you know.
Or the Semitic belief. Like, someone could persecute you for your belief. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that happens all around the world still, too. But at the end of the day, like, I think if you move with fear, you're going to get met with things that's going to move your fear. If you move in Most High's courage, that confidence will... People can look at people and tell if they can try them or not sometimes.
I wouldn't try you if I saw you on the street, so...
Yeah.
Granted, I move with a lot of confidence that people might call cocky and arrogant. Hey, I would rather be the one...
Yeah.
You know, that could kick you around but choose not to than be the one who looks like they can get kicked around.
Right, yeah.
But since I do know you, I feel like I could just try you any given day.
Okay, cool. I got boxing gloves in the trunk. I'm messing.
Podcast humor.
Yeah, I do think it is time that these artifacts do be returned. These are literally people's family heirlooms, and also like they need to be returned to their rightful owners. I was just thinking about one of my favorite movie series, Indiana Jones, was literally entertainment based on stealing people's artifacts, which is crazy that they literally made a whole series about it and they continue to. But
and National Treasure and things like that, where it's like these are hidden treasures off somewhere. The idea of finding hidden treasure and obtaining it is a form of stealing because it belonged to somebody. Someone hid it.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a rightful owner.
Yeah,
and you're not likely the rightful owner if you have to go find it.
Like if the rightful owner's not alive, and I mean their grandkids are probably just some spoiled.
They're not worried about it.
They don't need this anyway.
Yeah. No, it literally blessed them.
Yeah, man.
So I want to talk about some of my favorite warriors for free speech today in our current events. One being Tucker Carlson. He released an interview this week with Putin. As we all know, Tucker Carlson was forcibly removed or forced to resign from Fox News because he's a warrior for free speech and he believes in creating platforms for free speech, so forth. He created his own platform and is actually doing a lot better now, working independently. And he has the ability to go and set up interviews with world leaders and people that are considered controversial and give them a platform to speak. So, did anyone watch the Tucker Carlson interview and what did we think?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. I watched probably like the first 30 minutes of it. You know, Tucker Carlson, very interesting guy. Putin, really, really knowledgeable individual. And, you know, he used to be a secret agent before he became president. So he knows how to...
He's a spy.
He's also a Jew.
Is he?
Really?
Or is that like a rumor?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
So basically Tucker, from what I watched, Tucker, he asked him one simple question. He's like, so why do, Russians feel the need to take back Ukraine? And then Putin went into a 30-minute rant. I haven't even finished the rant. It wasn't a rant, but he was a historical lesson on why basically Ukraine became a part of another kingdom, but it was originally Russia's. So that was interesting. I don't know, it's like there's so much there's like in this age of information and its explosion, like that's literally what happened here. And there was a couple other clips that I saw, like with Putin talking about, like Tucker Carlson asked about the Nord Stream explosion, which was an oil pipeline. Mm-hmm. It was an explosion, and he asked Putin if he knows who did it, and he's like, "You know who did it?" And he's like, "It was the CIA." You know what I mean?
He told Tucker Carlson, "You know who did it?"
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson's like leading it. He's like, "No, I don't.
No.
You know who did it?" And he's like, "No."
But it's I do think Tucker Carlson is an individual who's given out, creating a platform for free speech, but there's, as you have around here, there's a whole lot of plants,
I think
And,
this is definitely all agenda based.
All agenda based, very much so. Like, they can't allow for information to be put out like freely. You know what I mean? Like it's all planned. But because if in reality, like, Tucker Carlson probably could have just got taken out.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always going to be resistors, and I do think that there's a such thing as people who are actually resisting that
to an extent.
You be shooting these folk bail, man. You be shooting
it would just
bail.
be hard to say that, like, everyone has
Everybody
the ability to resist, and there's no speech at all allowed, and everything that's put out, they own every last thing. That's not true. We're sitting here talking right now. It's not that we're not Tucker Carlson, but I'm saying there are people who are able to resist and create their own media and so forth, and they're able to say what they want to say.
I feel like I follow one of those people who is, but Tucker, like, come on, you're getting with the president. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna read this. This is from the first person, an astonishing frank self-portrait by Russia's president. By the way, this ended up on New York Times. By the way, okay, this book
also not a free speech platform.
Putin was put into power by a federation of Jewish organizations in Russia. The Jewish chairman of the organization, Abramovich, stated in a 2005 interview that Putin could obtain Israeli citizenship if he wanted as an ethnic Jew.
Wow.
And that his mother was a Jew, Shalomova. This makes Putin full Jewish by Jewish law. Something damning in the first edition of Putin's book, First Person, an astonishing frank self-portrait by Russia's president. It states his mother's maiden name was Shalomovich, which is a Jewish surname. But this is changed to Shalomova in the second edition, which is an attempt to cover this up.
Very interesting. Very
We're
interesting.
literally
Think
watching.
about that.
I mean, think about it. Putin's Jewish. The Ukrainians are related to the Ashkenazi because of the same blood. So it's like
Khazar.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Khazar.
you
It's
see
yes, it's
Russian
Khazar,
Jewish
yeah.
people fighting
So
each
that would
other.
be like, him trying to take captive their own people.
This is why I keep saying these countries aren't at war with each other. It's the leadership at war with
That's
the
the
people.
difference between nationality and ethnicity.
Well, nationality is where you were born, I guess, and you growing up there. Ethnicity is the bloodline. What is your bloodline really? I think is that
That's
different?
interesting. Is there a difference?
Yeah, nationality.
There can be
is
a
the
difference.
nation.
There can be
Yeah.
a difference. Literally for us,
Like
our
ethnic-
ethnicity is being Hebrew, but our nationality is American
Yeah, ethnic character, background,
or
affiliation,
United
common
Statesian.
common characteristics. To have common characteristics with a group of people, that's a big part of it.
Okay.
But yeah, so like
That
it's
is
like
interesting, though. That's
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like bro, like that's why I look at all this. This is a play.
It is,
Watching
it
a
is.
play.
It's literally you gotta think about the puppet show.
Mhm.
So
All right, let's
Yeah.
move along though. Because
Oh, yeah.
Candace Owens. Candace, I love you. You never cease to amaze me. Of course, some of her opinions, I don't agree with every last opinion and so forth. But as I've grown in my walk and my understanding of politics and curating an opinion outside of what I've conditioned to know and believe, and that I should be a Democrat and I'm naturally liberal simply because I'm black and all those other things, I actually agree with some of her takes. And so recently, she's really been honing in on who is corrupting the black, who's corrupting black people in America.
mm-hmm.
So she went in on Sexy Red most recently because she was doing. She just been. Her point is that she's making a point that she feels as though the media is taking the literal worst of Black America and giving them the hugest of platforms. Like she's like, there's no way that there was nobody better who was more talented who had anything better to say than Sexy Red. There was nobody. Sexy Red is the one. Recently, Sexy Red has been making internet news for her behavior at her baby shower, pictures and videos she's taking of herself while she's quite literally in the hospital bed after giving birth, and just, F my baby daddy this, F my baby daddy that, all this ratchet behavior. It's like complete tomfoolery.
I just
So Candace Owens is calling calling that out. She's saying, look at the girl who made the "You Think You're the Shit, You're Not the Fart" song, and all the basically rappers and people that are in black culture that are putting out the most heinous, ridiculous, terrible, tasteless entertainment for us. And like, why are they chosen? Like, who chose these people? So then she starts digging into a particular executive producer who produces music for Sexy Red, where he's from, how he's a black American who grew up in the suburbs running cross country in a 2-parent home. Why is it that given the opportunity, he chose Sexy Red for this platform? He could have chose anyone. He could have done anything with his time and his talents and his abilities and his privilege, and this is who he gives a platform to. So she's been going in lately. I think we should give, Candace Owens another chance. I think people should actually try to hear her out for what she's saying. And it's not negative to be a black Republican, especially in this day and age when liberalism is so extreme. Like, there's no way I'm about to associate black issues with LGBTQ issues. We do not have the same issues, and that's what she's been saying for years.
All right, just so y'all know, we're not a politician podcast. We're not a Democrat podcast.
I'm sure they know that.
And we're not a Republican podcast.
Why are you saying that?
No, I just you gotta say that for some people, But no, her. I have mixed feelings about Candace Owens, to be honest. I can't lie, like I agree with a lot of her takes, but I feel some type of way about this black woman who chose a European husband, but she turns around and talks a lot of stuff about the black community.
The thing that she be saying be valid. Like,
I didn't say it isn't. I just said
Sexy Red is completely ridiculous.
Look, I just said that I agree with a lot of what she says, but I feel some type of way that you took a European husband and you turn around to talk down on your community. Here's my thing. I need more from somebody who does that. Like, okay, cool. Like, hold people accountable in a community, but I need you to see something that tries to fix it. I need to see you start a foundation that teaches women how to be women, or like, you know what I mean? I need to see you actually doing something that fixes a lot of the issues and problems that you're talking at. Not just you're just talking negative. I want you to also give solutions, because you just look like the woman who said, I want a white husband because I made it, and now let me dump on my own community. That's what it looks like to me.
Maybe
not saying I don't agree.
Not saying I was on her level for her to marry.
And granted, like, I understand that's a conversation. I see my sisters are extremely intelligent, and they grew up in the most intellectual, dense place in all of America, Broward County, Florida. And I lived in Florida 5 years. I love my Floridians, but that's actually a statistic, okay? Or it was a statistic back when I lived there. Broward County was deemed place of worst education in the United States of America. And so my middle sister, her first, boyfriend was this white dude with no type of flavor. And she's married.
Side note.
I mean, no, he had none. Like, there
no seasoning.
There are white people who have plenty of seasoning. This guy did not.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yo, you could do so much better. And then, now she's, she settled down with one of our Latino, brothers, and I'm cool. Youngest sister, she hasn't even dated yet, and she's a sophomore year. No, she's in her last year of college, and she's literally been on one date in her life, and that was somebody, like,
Black?
That she grew up with. Yeah.
Okay.
But, like, just nobody mentally on her level, but I know that she'll probably be more prone to marry a black man. So, like, I can sympathize with them feeling like all the black people around me is ignorant, like, or most of them are ignorant, and it's hard to find someone in my mental capacity and my relationship or spiritual capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably Candace's situation.
But she's in politics. One thing I know is that a lot of these politicians are connected. There's a lot of families. He's probably related to somebody else in politics.
He's actually British. I think he's related to the royal family.
There you go. There you go. Like, so it's like,
I would rather that than an American white man, honestly.
Look, granted, I want y'all to realize I have nothing against interracial marriage, by the way. I believe at the end of the day, it's literally Torah for an Israelite to be able to marry somebody who's a Gentile as long as they worship the same Yah, right? So I have nothing against interracial marriage. I just think it looks a way for you to marry into this political game to get in this. I don't know her story with her husband, but you're doing it, and now you're talking junk about the black community with no solutions. I need her to bring solutions with the junk talking.
The reason I wanted to talk about this at all as a topic is because this is the first time that I've heard a black person who's a part of black culture and grew up as a black American in America speak about the fact that they choose the worst of our worst to give platforms to. Everyone else is just giving them their accolades and voting for them to be on award shows and putting them on in that place. I have never heard a black woman get on TV and be like, y'all, what is this? This is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. She's one of the
only people I've ever heard say that.
I agree with her. I just wish it wasn't her. I wish she wasn't the person for that. I wish it was someone who had a black husband that actually makes you trust that they actually care a little bit more about their community because they're about community building, and then they take that approach and provide a solution. But it just looks like it could be like self-hate bashing almost. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, again, she's talking truth. But I don't know if it comes from a place of genuinely caring about community or self-hate.
Well, to me, it's the opposite of self-hate. Because people really, they get upset with her because she says we shouldn't live in victimhood and it's not about victimhood, which comes off as self-hate. But at the root of it, it's actually saying that we are so great that we cannot settle for victimhood. That's
not self-hate. People who got an issue with that like to play victim themselves. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them also don't understand the spiritual implications of why we're in our situation. So a lot of black people are going to take the victim approach because they don't understand the Most High put us in this situation. Not we were just victims of the white man, right? It was our ancestors. They don't know our ancestral issue with this. It's solely. I agree with what she says. Mm-hmm. I wish it was not her. Because again, or I wish it was her with a black husband. Because it just looks away. It feels away. I've never seen you with an afro. I've never seen you with your kinky hair. I've never seen you you look like you have fit yourself into this European American world political game. Like you've trimmed off a lot of who you are to fit into this, and now you're turning around. It just looks away.
I understand what you're saying. I agree with the black husband thing and having the image of the entire black family.
Not against interracial relationships, but I understand families rule this thing, and sometimes in these rooms you have to marry into families to get to certain positions. That's why I just look at her like this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
Yeah. I think you guys had a great conversation here. And on this topic, if I'm going to present a solution, 2 Chronicles 7:14, for if my people are called by my name, will turn from their wicked ways and turn to the Most High. Mm-hmm. Then, I will forgive their lands and forgive their sins. We gotta realize, where we come from as Negroes here in America. Stop giving these individuals a platform. I'm not gonna say that they're uneducated, but they don't understand how they're being utilized to destroy our own communities. We literally had to turn to the Most High's word in spirit and in truth, and Yahshua. We can't take the European Western Christianity formula of theology. We have to literally go to the Most High's word. A lot of people have church hurt, but we got to get over that, because literally it's the most valuable thing we could gain in earth is salvation while we're here in life. So we have to realize it's that, and it's we can't be giving our attention and our hard-earned money towards these individuals who are literally just leading us, unfortunately, to hell. Like in reality, all they promote is sex, drugs, alcohol, and just getting money, and that is not conducive to life, sustainable life. So that's the solution. But no one wants to hear that because it takes work. And
it's not as fun.
No, it's not as fun. But there's a level of fun and holiness, I think.
Look, to bounce off of that, a lot of people think I die on the identity hill, and I think that's literally only it. But Candace Owens, right? And let me think, she throw this out. I might have seen her seeing videos responding to IUIC or Bishop Netanyahu, some Nathaniel, whatever. Nathaniel.
Yeah.
I might have seen videos of
She
her.
condemns.
Huh?
She condemns things that Israel are doing.
She condemns the IUIC.
Right.
She does. She hasn't agreed with anything that they've said at all.
Ever since the war, everything she's been putting out has been condemning them.
I've seen videos where she was agreeing with certain things he was saying, but okay, here's what I'm saying. She might. I don't know her religious background. She might profess to be a Christian.
She is, yeah.
What if she knew her identity in the word? She would be coming at this a whole different way. She might talk about sexual, but then she'd probably pour some life into her, some scripture to her, and that's my main.
Yeah.
Yo, I mean, like, really think about all these people who be talking, who say also I'm a Christian, right? And think of how much they don't realize they self-hate or they hate against other people. Yeah. But if they just knew that identity piece, there'd be a lot more humility and grace for their people. And so that part is so big. Yeah, you know what I mean? To the psychology of how we approach things. Look, man, if I didn't know who he was, I'd be saying all type of crazy stuff about Sexy Red on this mic right now. I'd be talking about the face I make just when I see her sometimes. I ain't gonna go that in. I would talk about Candace Owens and get really into the bag of how much I really feel the self-hate is there. Right? But I understand who I am, the plight that we're in of not knowing our identity, and why we speak in so much ignorance. Like, Sexy Red is dealing in ignorance. Candace Owens is speaking in ignorance with some knowledge there. You know what I mean? Like, so I just look at a whole bunch of people not knowing who they are, you know, living and talking the way. But, you know, again, I do agree with...
For someone to even have the platform to get on mass media and question, like, why is this the music that's being put out, and who's creating a platform for this? And this is actually completely ridiculous. We need to change this. That's a start.
It's true. I just feel like, again, like, imagine if she knew who she was. Yeah, I agree. All the way before she went on the aisle, and just think of what she'd be saying now and how her approach would be. I just think it'd be a lot more conducive. Like, point out the issue. What's the point of pointing out the issue if no solution or reach out or anything is, you know, I can talk junk all day.
Can we pause?
What's up?
Okay, so let's get into our topic.
Oh, you didn't have to pause that. Now I gotta do more with the video editing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead.
Topic of the week. This is something I'm passionate about. Like many of our topics, I want to talk to you guys and get your opinion on prosperity gospel. I just want to kind of hit on the history and the relevance of prosperity gospel to the truth. Is it misinformation? Is there value in it, or is it just leading people astray? I want to talk about prosperity gospel.
I'm gonna let y'all go first.
History, you know, I think I don't know how long it's been around officially, but it got really popular with the move towards televangelism. So, you know, I would say probably since the 80s or 90s, we've seen these messages about the prosperity gospel get popular. You know, you got Osteen, Hinn, Creflo, Jakes, you could even throw in there, with this prosperity gospel. And I feel that it's really, the message of it is using God to get what you want as a person. And that's not biblical, not at all. You know, God's word tells us that we need to allow for the Most High to use us, you know, so that we can be empty vessels for His glory. But the prosperity gospel is very name it and claim it type of thinking. You can manifest these types of things, sprinkle a little Jesus in there, and you know what? This is Christianity, unfortunately. And it's very much a false doctrine. So my thing is that it's very like it. I think it's caused a lot of people to have church hurt in the sense of like, well, you see some people being blessed financially, and I had to say this, like, it's so unfortunate that in church you relate the Most High's blessings strictly with finance, because that is not the reality. Like, there's so many other blessings that you can get spiritually, physically, health wise. Like, I really believe that the spiritual blessings and those blessings that you get from the Most High, the fruits of the Holy Spirit, are greater than the financial gains that you can get, because we can't take those financial gains with us to heaven, but it's detrimental to people's experience at church. And now it's to the point to where like you can really realize, like, now I think that it's not as much prosperity, but it's more of motivational prosperity gospel, a combination of that. Like, that's what I see like the popular pastors nowadays speaking on. But
you're motivating to that tithe.
Motivating the tithe. You need to sow a seed of $2,000. Like,
The people who don't tithe deserve to be shot in the head, quote Creflo Dollar.
Yeah, that's insane.
He said that?
Yeah, he said that.
That's
he said they should be lined up and shot. Like, yeah, that was Creflo Dollar.
That's insane. But yeah,
yes.
Now I'll listen to you guys' takes on it, because I do have like something to say that's probably against what you guys are gonna say. So
okay, so I wanted to read up a little bit on the definition and the history of it, where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. Like you said, yeah, it's coming from the 80s and the 90s. That's when it got popular, in the early 80s. Mm-hmm. And so it's the religious belief that financial well-being, physical well-being, are the will of God for those who believe in that positive faith speech and donations to religious causes will increase one's material wealth. So it does, I do think that it really treads very close adjacent to the power of manifestation in the mind, because it's emphasizing positive confessions over things that you want, which can turn into a form of idolatry to me. If you think that your mind and your confessions are controlling your reality, isn't that idolatry? Yeah. For me, there's a lot of reasons why I think that prosperity gospel is an issue. It's not biblical, and that it's kind of like what I was saying during the precept, that this is another one of those red flags. When people get into bad leadership or false prophethood or things of that nature, there are red flags. And for me, one of the red flags is when the leader continues to tie together the tithing of the church to what you're going to gain from tithing from that ministry. If you're telling me that me tithing to this ministry is going to in turn cause me to have a financial increase or increase in my wealth, that is not based in truth. That's opinion based, and that is just extreme optimism, honestly, because all it also does is also insinuates that bad health and poverty is a curse, and that in order to break that curse, you must do blank.
I think it can be a curse.
It can be, but in all cases, it's not. There are good people who are very strong in spirit and are really living out truth, and they fall ill, and it's not because of a curse. Yeah. So that's where I think it gets a little tricky. It's been popular in Pentecostal belief as well, and a lot of mega churches are rooted in prosperity gospel, and the reason that they're able to draw that large crowd is because they are tickling the ears and telling people an encouragement toward how they can fix their situation financially, their health and so forth, and their children, through sowing a seed into their particular ministry. Of course, that seed always being financial, and how it turns around back to them in dollars in their pocket.
Yeah, man. The Bible teaches prosperity, and it teaches good stewardship. You don't have to be poor to be righteous. Like, what I mean? You can be well off and be righteous. I have seen the fruits in my life of giving and being blessed financially and monetarily from giving with a cheerful heart and giving because I want to give. You won't be blessed from giving out of just like necessity and because you want a blessing back, like that. And that's really the main thing that's not being told to people. It's it's really about where you're giving from in your heart. Are you giving from, I want to see these people do better, I want to help, I want to pour into these kids, I want to put some clothes on somebody's back? Or is it, I'm giving because I really feel like that's just going to get me some money back? I really feel like people, it's like people are blessing to receive a blessing.
Right.
But you're not supposed to bless to receive to get something back.
Your heart's posture.
You know what I mean? And that's what's not really being taught to people, like, or they try to drill it and they don't drill it the right way.
Right.
But that's because, you know, a lot of people who want a prosperity way are the ones who want to beat the prospering. You know what I mean? I know pastors who are literally just as their gain in the year is just as much as their members. You know what I mean? Like, and they pour into their community and they do what they need to do. Honestly, I can look at my dad as that. Like, he literally will take up the towel himself, you know, in the church and put the floor down. And they not rich, you know. My mom started working again, you know what I mean? So it's like, yo, like, it's people just gotta start reading the word for themselves, and really holding these pastors accountable to the word. Stop just listening to the pastor, listen to what the Most High is saying, and through the word, and challenge these people. I mean, I really wonder why Creflo came out and gave that fake apology. You know, I wonder if he got shook, if the Most High gave him a dream, if he was looking out in the world and realizing, like, yo, I can't keep playing these games. Like,
or he knew that his image was being deteriorated, so if he were to apologize, he might be able to help his ministry.
Who knows, you know?
I do think that tithing is a spiritual practice. You know, we have to realize that, like, it predates the law, and
you pour into who's ever pouring into you. It makes sense.
Yeah, and you're supposed to share all good things with your instructor and your teacher. But I think with the prosperity gospel, there's this demonic attitude of greed. That's being prevalent in the messages. So it's like, no, you don't need to just do 10%. You need to do 50% so that you can be able to receive some sort of.
And telling people how much they should give, like, that's wild, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
no, say give what the Most High puts in your heart.
Right.
That's what you say. And granted, I think a lot more people want to know what's being done with the money. I think if I knew my church, my money is going to go to the church, and it's going to go to this orphanage, or it's going to go to this, or it's going to go to specific ministries. If people knew that, I think a lot of the secrecy of what's being done with church funds, it feels like paying taxes almost.
I agree.
You know, like, I don't know where my money's been spread to. I don't know how much of it is going in the pocket of, you know, the preacher. Like, people want to know.
Because in the word, during that time, they had the storehouse. So when they try and reference scripture on bringing to the storehouse and the first fruit to the storehouse, it's not really, it's not a direct relevant. It's not a direct correlation. Like, if we had a ministry where you were to bring anything over and beyond what your family needs to physically eat, and that was brought to the place of gathering, and then actual food was distributed to those in need, or not even those in need. Say they just decided to make it a regular occurrence that every time you come to service, dinner is served, or every time you come to service, lunch or dinner is served, and people were bringing the overabundance of whatever food they had at home and brought, and meals were made every week just for the congregation. That's how you bring to the storehouse. So to tell someone to tithe this much over their particular check off of their gross and this and that has nothing to do with the storehouse. And what if that's not extra for you? What if you're actually very tight on funds and you don't have a 10% to give, but you actually have extra food in your house, or you actually have like some other resource that you could give, a talent that you could bring. Maybe you don't have money, but you love praise and worship and can encourage people in that way. That is a version of giving.
Or maybe you know how to fix things, and like the floor, the church needs new floors or something like that. Like, just, I want to say this, like, the Most High does not, like you said earlier, like being righteous should not be synonymous with being poor and broke. You know what I mean? I do think
that's how they got that's the into us with slavery and stuff.
You know, I think it's important to realize that, like, it's okay to be wealthy here on earth, but like, do you have money or does your money have you? Is really the thing. And we have to realize that we are just literally stewards over what the Most High has given us in literally all aspects. This microphone, you know, our bank accounts, like everything is it's in ownership of the Most High because He created all things. So like we have to take that posture, especially when it comes to our finances, and that's one thing that's not taught with this prosperity gospel. So there's a lot of just deception that people that go to these churches are induced into, unfortunately. So they're just misinformed, and they actually, like, they're not taught to study the word for themselves. You know?
And if you preach to me that one Sunday you say that my cup is going to run over, and you talk about coming to the Most High with a cup of oil and He runs your cup over, then and next week I need you to tell me about Job. We need balance.
Yeah.
Like,
Balance
every week
has
I
to
come,
be.
I don't want to hear about how He's
Yeah.
going to multiply. And He's going to take the one fish and turn it into thousands of. I need you to tell me about the fact that He said, "Take everything that you have and give it to the poor."
Right.
I remember where a pastor, not a pastor, on a YouTube channel, somebody said, "Oh, go black to Africa." In all his travels, you know, all over the country, he said the poorest places I'll always find is where Catholicism is the most prevalent.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
That's real.
what he linked it to was the idol worship.
Yeah.
How much idols is a part of the Catholic faith.
Yeah.
And that's literally the first commandment. You know what I
I
mean?
know about
And
it.
so, like, that's also
Guys.
something people gotta look at too. Is like, maybe your poverty is coming from
Yeah.
the idols you have around the crib.
Come on.
Maybe that white Jesus or that black Jesus. You know, maybe that cross symbol. You know what I mean? The menorah is the only symbol the Most High gave to Israel for real. You know, like, so we gotta really like think about watching when you saw the cross is in the movie in the Book of Clarence, right? And you saw those people on the cross, and you know in your knowledge that that's happened to thousands of people.
Yeah.
How does it really feel to wear a cross now? To know that that's actually Rome's symbol, and that's their symbol for death to y'all.
Yeah,
it's kind of no difference than wearing a noose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or oh, wait a minute!
Yeah, it messes you up.
It does. It does, because it's like,
it does.
and also, you know, that's the image that's been promoted of Christ so much. Why is my Messiah dying? The image that's promoted so much. You know what I mean?
Keep
Why is
him
that a
on
symbol?
the cross.
Yeah.
On your symbols, like he's not even off the cross, and like.
Yeah.
So we gotta look at the idols too. That we,
Yeah.
I went and threw away all my figurines and this and that in my crib just in case.
Yeah.
Just in
Gotta be
case.
safe.
Yeah.
Like even I love my fishbone Alien versus Predator Requiem fishbone statues I got from New Mexico. I even threw that away.
Oh,
I paid
wow.
like $150 or something like that
Dang,
for that.
that's an artifact.
Oh my gosh, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never worn a cross, but there's definitely things like you have to. What does Eshon Burgundy say? Burn your idols.
Yeah,
You
burn your
gotta
idols.
burn them. You gotta burn them. You gotta
Yeah.
be cognizant of them.
Maybe that'll bring you to some prosperity. Get rid of your idols.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So I'm glad y'all willing to talk about this because it's something that I personally feel like we really struggle with in the black community, in the black church. And you go, you know, when you go in the hood and you see certain things, you're gonna see a liquor store in every other corner. You're gonna see check cashing. You're gonna see some type of a Baptist church. And that's what you see. And in those churches, there's a lot of prosperity gospel going on. And there's a lot of robbing our people blind who are already poor, just driving them further into poverty, which is the opposite of prosperity.
Right.
So that's the reason why I was interested in touching on that today.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, man.
Very deceptive.
Nah, good.
So our tentative thought.
Pause. Are we literally going to alternative law and the financial news?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
we're getting up
We
on
have like
10
7
We're
more
good.
minutes. Yeah.
We're good.
All right.
The alternative thought: new technology, and the buying into new technology, and where do we draw the line? So, this week we see a lot. I've been seeing a lot more on social media. These the Apple Vision Pros. We got the Oculus, and then of course every year Apple puts out a new phone, and then we've also got Neuralink, who just implanted their first live patient. Now I know that they're starting with the paralyzed, paralyzed community, but where is it where that we draw the line, especially as believers, but because I'm seeing more and more that those that are in the world, they just don't draw the line.
There is no line.
There's no line.
They want to be the
they're
robot.
going to
They
keep
want to
pushing.
be one
They're going
with
to
the
keep on.
technology.
They're going to keep on pushing. Like I know an individual who's like, hey, what if I did have a copy of myself that could just go to work for myself and I could do other things? I'm like, bro, that's so like you're literally compromising. Like you're giving over your DNA to make a drone. Not a drone. I'm sorry, a clone. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like you would literally buy into the clone technology.
Yeah, literally.
I think I would end up at war with my clone and have to kill one another, and I don't know who would win. I would like to think I would win, but if my clone's a robot, they'd win.
All I know is there's a good reason Most High didn't have my twin born. Okay.
I think it's just like as we are like in these end times, and we're seeing the inclusion of technology and biology, we have to be mindful of it with the mark of the beast. I think that like even for me, I'm kind of hesitant about using AI technologies because I know that it's all stored in their like that AI's database. So I'm like, I don't want them to use this information against me. There's this meme I used to promote on Instagram, and it is basically like a robot over a real person's shoulder, and it's like, we've scheduled your execution for XYZ date because you posted this meme, and it's just like we have to realize that like everything is really stored, and especially with new technology, data is it doesn't go away, like the internet, you think that you can delete something from your profile. It's still somewhere there. Yeah.
That's scary to know too.
Where I would draw the line.
I've sent some crazy things.
Oh, me too. I'm like, Lord, please always get out.
I draw the line at anything that requires the technology to need to enter my body is where I draw the line.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good with socials. I think that if there's a use for ChatGPT, that's affecting my body. So I feel like physically tattooing anything or entering. So that's where. But like the use of ChatGPT to formulate emails or help you with wording or certain thing, I think that's okay. So I would use that. I would use a techno-esque car. If there's a futuristic car that can self-drive to places, I would be okay with that as well.
Wow.
So the where I would draw the line is when, one, I feel I have no choice but to use the technology. Like I have a Clear account. So when I go to the airport so that I can go on the Clear line, they have to scan my eyes.
Yeah.
But I already kind of signed up for that for the convenience of it and so forth. So I was always against getting the solution. So if that meant that I couldn't fly or go certain places, fine, because I don't want that in my body. Any technology where I have to get a chip and implant a tattoo, I'm not going to do that. But if something is innovative and makes my life a little bit easier, like if they start delivering DoorDash using mini robots, I'm going to still order that DoorDash.
Yeah, I'm definitely the opposite. I will never, as long as I can, I'm not going to use Clear to fly. I don't want them having any of my data, especially my biometric data. ChatGPT, I'm not going to use it. Like, I'm trying to be as anti-tech as much as possible as I mean, like, literally I put out content, but I think I just have an aversion to it because I know I really do believe it's all part of it's all going to work towards the beast system. So, like, it's just...
A lot of people are letting it take their creativity, too. You got graphic designers using it to create the graphics. You got people using it to write their books, like... It's kind of like, wow, y'all even taking the creativity out of some of these things with some of this technology. Right. Me personally, I'm against anything that makes me lazier. So like, okay, a car instead of walking, all right, come on, that's not even... You
can't walk, right, you can't walk millions of miles every
day. You're right. So if it's not a thing that it isn't greatly reducing my time,
then nah, like, so I'll what's the most okay, so I use the talk text feature on Siri, right? And people be funny, like thinking like, Brandon, you use you talk to Siri?
You do. You for your reminders, it's hilarious every time you do it.
Yeah. Well, for me, I do it because I'm always multitasking. Right? I don't always want to just blah 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 look at my phone and talk, because I'm doing multiple things at once.
Yeah.
So it's not even the situations making me lazier. It's situation I can actually do this and do something else at the same time.
Efficiency.
Right? My efficiency. But if it's just gonna make me lazy, like, nah, I'm gonna drive my own car. Like, I've seen too many movies where the car has done something else, taken control, it died. Like my boy, I went to go visit my boy last week, and yeah, bro, like I can't make it home yet because my car like died like 2 feet away from the charger.
Dang.
like no.
Can you put electric cars in neutral? Can you put electric cars in neutral?
The thing is, when the car dies, the whole car dies, and you have to tow the car.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing with the Tesla.
Yeah, like you don't play.
It's not like running out of gas.
Like you play with gas and you on zero. Like there's still a little bit in there.
Yeah.
Now me, I don't play those games.
Yeah.
I'm not that
hood enough, but I don't play that. So like, I'm just not gonna. I'm not dealing with stuff that makes me mad lazy. Like convenience, a lot of times is a killer. And convenience and that comfortability, I feel like it takes the edge off, But I'm more so against using technology when it comes to creativity like that. Like I'm in Photoshop helping a friend with homework yesterday, and I realized instead of actually, when you got to cut images out of an image to put it somewhere else, to cut the background out, all you got to do is just click on the image now. You don't got to like trace over it.
Yeah.
I'm like...
And it gets it more perfectly than it would if you traced it.
I mean, not necessarily more perfect, but it's just like, it's taking a lot more steps out. Granted, that doesn't necessarily take away from the creativity part of it, so I'm actually not mad about it, because you still got to be creative enough to put artwork together. But when something is now deciding, hey, let's put this there and create this in there and write your words and your paragraphs like this, instead of just proofreading, proof checking, like that's it. Like no, like I'm a creative being created by the creator, and I feel like my creation should come from my own creativity, not a robot or a demon or whatever creating for me.
I agree with that.
Like
it will make you weak and soft, and not as you don't have to use your brain, and so if you don't use certain functions, they start to die down and reduce. Like I get that.
Now I have an Oculus. The Oculus
is
fun. Yeah, I told y'all this. I have an Oculus.
So he has an Oculus.
No, people, it's fun to play.
Siri.
It's fun to play as a game.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go walk around with these goggles throughout life. And Pro and like, you know what I mean? Looking stupid. Yeah. I close my blinds when I played on the Oculus, so people can't see me looking stupid.
It's
running around and ducking behind nothing. And like,
I watched Ready Player One last night.
Yeah, like I like the games.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get you guys' points to utilizing technology to making life easier. And that's something I had to definitely do, because there are some forms of technology that I could probably handle that would make my life easier, but I'm just...
Back in the day on Wall Street, they would physically call people, write down number of shares, submit it into the thing on the wall, put it back on the phone, write it down, put it in the chute.
Listen, I write down so many things. I mean, I utilize my notes app, but like I'm very like caveman-y, like when it comes to like my personal things, like goals, feelings, all that kind of stuff. Like I physically...
you write down your feelings?
No, not as much as I should, but like when I need to.
I
got no feelings, the frick!
Write your feelings down. That's so sweet.
Alright. My feelings just come out in demonic drawings. My mom want to throw away so bad.
I'm glad that you've grown since then.
That's funny.
You have other ways. Alright, financial news.
It ain't much of nothing, honestly. We see Sam Bankman-Fried preparing to get a prison sentence of some sort. And also, the FTX users are potentially going to be repaid, potentially. You never know. This is what CNBC says. But, I just wanted to highlight this because they use his scandal, which was not really, from what I've heard from my insiders, it wasn't actually one of those planned fallings. You know what I mean? Like, so with that being the case, like it was an anomaly, and then they found out he had all these ties to all these political organizations, but he was solely on his own, just being foolish. And I know that they're going to utilize this as a way to have more oversight over digital currency. Central bank digital currencies are coming, y'all, and it's inevitable as we talk about new technology.
When you mention the repayment, it just comes to my original question: where did the money go? You cannot take billions of dollars out of an economy and just disappear. So if they're able to repay, then that means they know. Yeah, but it's hypothetically like even if it's digital, it's in our economy.
Yeah.
So somewhere, somehow, it's housing, it's holding our economy up. So you take it out via stealing it. You don't know where it goes, and then you gain the ability to repay it back to people. It's all very fishy to me.
Yeah, it's just putting some numbers into the system, into the
It's
computer.
like, oh, there goes $20 billion.
Listen,
click.
You guys can hit my account if you like. It's just a bank error in my favor, like the Monopoly card. So, that's basically what's going on. That's all I got for y'all.
Good fun.
All right, well, yeah, save your pennies, save your money, and
silver and gold.
Silver.
Yeah, for real. That's the way, because when it all goes down,
Life skills,
diversify.
old school hard work.
Yeah,
Diversify your bread.
most definitely.
Well, great conversation today, you guys.
For sure.
Thank you for being my Outcast buds.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely are.
Make sure your foundation is in Yahshua, dadgummit, and until our next episode.
And if you choose to donate, Kingdom OutKast Pod. And we're gonna have guests soon, so look forward to guests.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Until next episode, y'all stay blessed.
Peace.
Deuces.
Shalom.